Sorry, Shalom Aleichem. Sorry, I was muted. I didn't realize. Ay, 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 ay. So, Baruch Hashem, brand new year, everything is new. Mamish, everything is completely new. Boker Tov. We'll start with Hashem Yisbarach. Ah, Shalom, Shalom, Rachach, Gulakov, Amar Hashem Rafasiv. So there's a halacha that on Erev Yom Kippur, mitzvah le'echol be'erev Yom Kippur. Laharbos besuda. There's a mitzvah to eat on Yom Kippur and to really have a lot in your meal. And as a Ramah, va'asur lisanos, but you're not allowed to fast. Afilu tiny schalim, even if it's a fast because of a dream. V'imnadar lisanos, and tafkuf ayin there. There's a Magen of Ram there that says that mamish. It's mamish a din Torah. It's a mitzvah min Torah. That's Mishnah Berurah comes out like that. It's a biblical mitzvah to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. We're going to talk about this why and what does this mean. Mishnah Berurah brings down from the Gemara, "Ve'nisim es nafshosechem v'tisha lechodesh be'erev." The pasuk says that you shall afflict yourselves from the 9th of the month of Tishrei. Now the trouble is, from the 9th until the 10th, the trouble is that the mitzvah of Yom Kippur of fasting is only on the actual 10th of Tishrei. So we learn from here you have to add time to the Yontif. We also learn Mashmashi Yisanu b'Tisha B'Av. The pasuk sounds like you're supposed to already be afflicting and fasting on the 9th of Av, on the 9th of Tishrei. Yom Kippur is only on the 10th. The Kiblu Chazal, the Adarabba mitzvah min Torah le'echol be'erev Yom Kippur. Hashem gave us a mitzvah to eat. B'Ratza HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yitain Sachar Be'ad ha'achila ki'ilu hisanu. That Hashem wanted to give us reward as if we fasted. She'eino doma mitzvah sheyesh bo tsar. Because a mitzvah that is difficult to accomplish is not the same as a mitzvah that's easy to accomplish. So even though eating is easy and fasting is hard, but Hashem is Hashem, and Hashem could decide that the eating that we do will count as if we're fasting, and it will be as if we did a mitzvah that was very hard for us to do. It's mamish an unbelievably deep idea already, and we're going to get mamish deep into this. I'll just say one thing fast because it's nice to start a shiur straight with something really deep, which is there's a big question everyone asks, especially these days, like things are so crazy in the whole world and we're trying to do tshuva. And the question is, why is it lefum tsara agra? Why should it be that the reward it goes according to the pain involved? Why should it be like that? Why can't Hashem make it that the reward could be great without it being difficult? It's a question. It's a very deep. It's very mamish, an incredibly deep question because there's no ultimate answer to why it's like. Why is it lefum tsara agra? There's no complete answer to this question. It's mamish beyond. Hashem really just made the world that way. We experience it. The things that are difficult. Even just in learning Torah, when you first don't understand something and it's really bothering you, and then you finally get it, but then you realize even that first understanding wasn't right, and it's so frustrating. And then you mamish searching and searching, and something really breaks through, and it's really shining. It sticks with you and stays with you so much more than something that just came easily. So we experience it, but still, there's been a lot of tsar lately in everyone's life on the outside and maybe even the most on the inside. Why? Why does it have to be this way? So there's an amazing thing that on Erev Yom Kippur, Hashem says, okay, you know what? I'll change the rules for one day. On this day, you eat, and it's as if it was really hard. Hashem could do that. He could just mamish change the very fabric of the whole thing. Mamish, an incredible thing. Hashem says, fine, here, experience it for a day. And I think in giving us that gift of Erev Yom Kippur, of experiencing an enjoyable, easy mitzvah, such as eating, that will count as if we're fasting, it helps us to tune into something higher than the question of why it is that we that the reward goes in accordance with how difficult the mitzvah is. That we just experience in the fact that Hashem could switch it, we experience something higher than both states, something higher than either way, than it either being because it's hard, that's how I get the reward, or as it is one day in the year only, where when things are easy, it's as if it's hard and it counts as if it was hard. By experiencing that switch, we experience an amazing love of Hashem as just our creator, that is beyond any intellectual construction at all. Just we are his creation and he is our creator. Anu amecha ve'ata Elokeinu, and that's it. And something really wonderful comes across. And this is the gate into Yom Kippur. And we're going to learn this more now, Bezos Hashem, together with Rabbi Nachman and some other stuff, Orach Chaim HaKadosh. We'll start with an amazing Orach Chaim HaKadosh. Our parsha starts by vayelech Moshe vaydaber advarim ha'ela kol Yisrael. So the Orach Chaim asked the question, Tzarich ladat lahechan halach. Where does Moshe go? It doesn't say anywhere about any kind of a destination. It's just vayelech. Many Mefarshim ask the question. So he brings Rashi that also that he went from Machane Levia to Machane Yisrael, Ramban. But still, Hakasuv Sasum, who the pasuk is itself totally satum. It's hidden. Ve'enu menu heker. We don't know where did Moshe go. And then he says, he brings the Zohar HaKadosh, an incredible thing. The Zohar HaKadosh says that 40 days before the time a person is going to leave the world, the neshama already starts to visit. Nishmas Adam holeches mimenu umevakeres mokom chaniyasa mokom elyon. The neshama already starts to visit its place in Shemayim, where it's going, 40 days before it dies. V'tzadikim yakiru b'davar. And great righteous people, they can recognize this when it's happening. And he says, we find from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, with Rabbi Yitzchak. And so he says, vayelech Moshe means the Ruach Chaim of Moshe, the neshama of Moshe, that's the real Moshe, shetikara Moshe, halcha keseder haragil. It went in its seder. Halcha keseder haragil lamish magia kitzo. It went in the normal way of a neshama that goes to visit, where it's going to have its place in Shemayim. He hergish belichasa, he could tell. And so he says this is what vayelech Moshe is about. And he has this beautiful lashon, halcha kaseder haragil lamisha magia kitzo. That there's a certain same way that we kind of walking through life. So part of the Seder, and whether we're sensitized, great tzaddikim mamish recognize it, most people, it's probably just some kind of like a subconscious sort of a blip, a sense on the inside. 40 days before a person's time comes, it's already beginning to visit. That's called Seder Haragil. Lamisha Magia Kito. It's its Seder, it's its way of walking in the world. It's part of the way that the soul walks in the world, is 40 days before, just like there's like 40 days before a person is born, they're announcing the soulmate. 40 days before it's time to go, the soul already starting to visit. And says that's what was going on in this pasuk. The Moshe's soul was already visiting. We know there was, I don't know exactly which date vayelech Moshe happened, but we know that he's, the whole Sefer Dvarim was from Rosh Chodesh Shvat until Zayin Adar. It was roughly the last 40 days, 37 days, and the last bunch of time of Moshe Rabbeinu's life. And so this idea of vayelech kaseder, this idea of walking through life, here we're going to learn an amazing Torah Likutei Moran. This is Torah 59, Torah Nun Tes, in the second chelik of the Likutei Moran. It says, Rabbeinu, yesh zariz v'niskar, zariz v'nifsad. It's a Gemara in Pesachim that it's possible for a person to be zariz, to be, what's the word zariz? To be quick and to lose out because they were quick, or to win, to gain by being quick. Kida, he says, because we need to know, ki mitzvah gereres mitzvah, a mitzvah brings a mitzvah. That's Pirkei Avos, Perek Daled. Mitzvah brings you to another mitzvah. Nimsa sham mitzvah goreres is chaver. To find a mitzvah, goreres means kind of like it drags out another one. It brings you to another one. It causes another one. Uvada yesh is a bechina bein ha-mitzvahs. It's an amazing thing. Surely there is something that is in between the two mitzvahs. Mashehu bein mitzvah la mitzvah, that which is in between one mitzvah and another mitzvah. Shu makasher mitzvah achas lechaverto, that it connects one mitzvah to its friend, to the next mitzvah. Asher yedei zeh ha-mitzvahs nigroim achas acher chaverto, that it is through this thing, this middle thing, that one mitzvah causes the next mitzvah. Really, this aspect that is in between the mitzvahs. This aspect is also very, very valuable, very precious. Therefore, a person who is really righteous from their youth and is walking in a straight path their whole life, midarga ledarga, from level to level. Moish, maybe you'll hear this. I was once driving the car with him. I said, am I supposed to? He was giving me directions. I said, am I supposed to drive straight? He says, Leibish, it's never straight. Forward, not straight. So derech hayasha, the forward path. Midarga ledarga. The person is just moving forward all the time from level to level. Because of Avram Zakin Baba Yamin, Avram Avinu was old and came to his days. The pasuk says, "Avram bala dargashal aydei hayamim." Avram reached his level through each day. That every day was cumulative, was growth, was going from one level to the next. Ki ben shalosham hikir boira. When he was 3 years old, he recognized his Creator. Avraham was just always going, always moving from level to level. A person who is going all the time, just mamish moving, like we saw the Orach Chaim HaKadosh describing Moshe Rabbeinu, halach keseder haragil, person who's walking in a normal way, the soul, like they're really righteous and they're just moving and growing every day. If such a person moves too quickly, he loses out. It's called zariz umafsid. If a person is too quick and they're running from one mitzvah to the next, then the person loses through this, the holiness, that special aspect of holiness that is in between the mitzvahs. Mashihu bein mitzvah the mitzvah. Right? Like you said, mitzvah gereres mitzvah, mitzvah caused another mitzvah. That means, Rabbi Nachman says, there's something in between the mitzvahs that connects one to the next. And so if a person is holding in a life of mitzvahs and they're growing step by step, then if they speed things up, they miss that in between. They miss that amazing holiness of that which is in between one mitzvah and the next, and what connects one mitzvah to the next. By being too quick, the person skips over and misses this aspect. Because the mitzvah anyway is on its way to you. Because the person did mitzvah A, and mitzvah B is now on its way because it's caused by mitzvah A. And there's that amazing in-between thing, which we're going to talk about soon, that is the connector. And if I rush too much quick from mitzvah A to mitzvah B, I miss that precious in-between. And if I'm running, if the mitzvah B is heading towards me anyway, and I run towards mitzvah B, then I could skip over that incredibly precious thing which is in between mitzvah A and mitzvah B, that which connects mitzvah A to mitzvah B. I'm running too fast. It's like you're running up the down escalator. You'll miss it. That mitzvah is already coming. Just don't move too quickly, because then if you move too quickly, you'll miss that in-between aspect. If the person will slow down a little bit, will wait a little bit, then the person can grasp, can connect to that aspect which is in between the mitzvahs. But this is all about a person. This person is going in this orderly way, like the way Orach Chaim HaKadosh is talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, is going in the way Seder HaRagil from youth and doing mitzvahs, and basically they're A-okay. But a person who needs to do tshuva, then a person really does need to be very quick, very, very quick. Mamish, to run, to rock it off, to mamish save your soul. There's no room for sitting and chilling out and just staying in one place. Bal tshuva is not this thing of going keseder in the normal way from step to step. The Bal Tshuva doesn't have mitzvah A that's naturally bringing him to mitzvah B. He doesn't have a whole chain of his whole life of each mitzvah bringing to the next one, bringing to the next one, bringing the next. So he's missing that whole in-between thing that brings mitzvah, that is the reason why one mitzvah causes another mitzvah. Right? Dinah just walked in. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says mitzvah causes another mitzvah. So Rabbi Nachman says there's something in between those two that connects mitzvah 1 to mitzvah 2. And it's a very precious thing. So if a person is their whole life doing mitzvahs, then each mitzvah brings the next one. So if they are too quick, then they'll miss that in-between thing, which we're going to talk about what that is. But they're going to miss that precious thing. So it's better for them to slow down and not be too quick. Yeah, to do the next mitzvah. But somebody who's about tshuva and mamish is not holding with a whole nice long chain of mitzvahs, so then they don't have that in-between thing already with them. I need to start mamish in the beginning. So then you need to mamish run and skip as quick as you can and start the whole thing going. You have to jump over everything. You need to mamish jump and run to holiness with great quickness. And a person such as this is called quick and rewarded for being quick, because you get things going again, right? We're going to talk about this. Rabbi Nachman's talking about how, they're like two very different. It seems to me, this is me talking, but it seems to me that we have both of these in us, each of us. There's a level in us that has been going step by step with the mitzvahs, but then there's part of us that's really off the track and needs to be quick. I'm going to talk about this more. He's talking about it as like, you're either this or you're that. I'm bringing in that could be, and it's sort of supported by the idea Rabbi Nachman has in Torah 34 and in many other Torahs, that there's a nakuda, there's a aspect of tzaddik which is in each one of us. Even though there's like mamish the tzaddik, but then there's each one of us that has an aspect that is a tzaddik also. That would paint a more complex picture, that we really need both of these things. We need to be fast and we need to be slow. We'll talk about this more, Bezos Hashem, just giving you a thought. Okay, so now he ends off this Torah with a very fascinating thing, which we're going to follow up on in Likutei Halachos. What is this thing that is the glue, that is the in-between, that makes mitzvah 1 bring you to mitzvah 2, the mitzvah gereris mitzvah? What is that dynamism that is in between the mitzvahs? This aspect, shebein ha-mitzvahs kanal, that is in between the mitzvahs. Who could go? And this is like such as, for example, Vaydaber Hashem Moshe lemor v'asisa. You find it in the Torah, in the framing verses that are around the mitzvah. Torah, if you open up the Torah, it's not a Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. It doesn't just say a list of do's and don'ts. It's always emerging from a story, whether it's mamish a story, or even if it's just the story of Hashem telling Moshe to tell Am Yisrael. Even that still contextualizes the mitzvah in something that is not an instruction, but that is a description, that is a story. Uvada yesh avoida gam be'elu hadiburim. There certainly is service of Hashem. There's avoda in those words of the Torah also. But what is that, right? Shehem kodem ha-mitzvah, that they come before the mitzvah. Ki ikar ha-mitzvah be'atzma, never b'torah charkach. The mitzvah itself is afterwards, where the Torah then says, okay, go do such and such. Achar tevas ve'asisa, after that word that says, and you shall do, and then it says, here's what you should do, make Yom Kippur, whatever it is. Aval be'emes, but truly, b'vadai gam b'psukim hanal. Certainly, in those verses also, the Vaydaber Hashem Moshe verses, which are in between each mitzvah, shebein mitzvah mitzvah, yesh bahem avoda. There's definitely some kind of a Jewish life of service of Hashem that is in those verses. That is this aspect, mashabein mitzvah mitzvah, of that which is in between the mitzvahs. Now he's very poetic and still quite mysterious. What is that avoda? And what are these verses about? We're going to see now Likutei Halachos. You just read, just for the sake of finishing, go look in Torah 22. That there is service also in that verse of Hashem speaking to Moshe, and so on. And then that's the end of Torah 59. So here we need Reb Nassan Zal. So Reb Nassan in Hilchos Mila. Reb Nassan Hilchos Mila. Here in Sefaria, it's paragraph Tes. In my printing, it's paragraph Ches, but okay. Remember, we're now getting to Yom Kippur, this amazingly special time that Moshe, in the first time around, was on Har Sinai, right? And he was davening for Am Yisrael, right? This whole thing was, right, that on Sivan, the 6th or 7th of Sivan, we got the Torah, and it was 40 days until the 17th of Tammuz, when Moshe broke the luchos because of the golden calf. And then on the 20th of Tammuz, Moshe goes back up to daven, has another 40 days, which were Yemei Zam, which were days of disconnection, difficulty with Hashem, where he was davening between the 20th of Tammuz and the 1st of Elul. It's another 40 days. And then by the 1st of Elul, Hashem it was on that day he revealed the 13 attributes of mercy. 1st of Elul, Hashem there begins to be a new second chance, right? And this culminates with the day of Yom Kippur, right? From Rosh Chodesh Elul until Yom Kippur. And the Gemara says that those 40 days were mamish with the same degree. It was like as if nothing happened. We got fully back in with full Yemei Ratzon, mamish, real desirability and real connectivity between Am Yisrael and Hashem. And that's this incredibly precious time we're in now. And so says Moshe Rabbeinu is up on Har Sinai, and he said, forgive Am Yisrael ve'im ayin mecheni na, and if not, then please forgive me. Then please erase me from your book, right? Mecheni na misifrecha, right? So that's an interesting thing. In other words, why did he say erase me from your book? He said, if not, maybe get a new leader or whatever it is. Why would he have to be erased from the book. What is this about? Here, Reb Nosson takes us on a nice Kavaldic trip. Is going to tie Bez Hashem everything we've been learning all together. The truth is that if the Torah's whole purpose is just to give us rules and regulations, then the Torah only would need to just give us a list of mitzvahs. That's the essence. Just tell us what to do. All the stories of the Torah. Like for instance, like the first Rashi in Chumash, why, like Rashi's father said, why did the Torah have to start? Was Torah should start with the first mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh. All the stories from Bereshis until then, and then all the stories after that, and even by every single mitzvah, yesh od dvarim v'sipurim. There's always words, extra words, and stories. We can find by almost every mitzvah. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe. This verse of Hashem talking to Moshe and telling him to tell us. This is this aspect of the words of the Torah. On the one hand, the essence of the Torah is the mitzvah itself. Ach kol elu hasipurim. Sorry, last place here. Ach kol elu sipurim v'chol elu divrei Torah shesvivos hamitzvah mitzvah ze b'chinas haTorah ne'lemes. This, all those stories in the Torah, and even the little story words that are around the mitzvah of Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe, they are all from what is called the hidden Torah. The hidden Torah that Rabbi Nachman describes in Torah 78 in the second section of Kutei Moran, that's the Torah that is within nature itself. That's the Torah that is called Chesed, that is called pure love. The Torah that is just the story itself. It's in the rocks, it's in the sky, it's in the air. That's the Torah that is hidden. That we don't have a clear, instruction from it. But it's so important, as we're going to explain. The Torah itself is has this three-dimensional thing. It's got in it the hidden Torah. Every time you're learning the story, you're connecting to something that is just God's love. It just is so. It's just the story. It's the experience of the thing. It's not giving you any exact instruction. Either you do it or you don't do it. There's something deeper than that. There's something that is the story of the mitzvah and the story of creation itself, which is just God's love. That's all. Which is the aspect of the hiddenness, the secrets of Torah. This hidden Torah is called completely free love. It's just love that has no requirements. It has no nothing. It just is. It's just Hashem. Olam Chesed Yibane, like David HaMelech says at Tehillim, I think it's chapter 80. That God made the world out of love. And this is the love that gave energy to the world before the Torah was given. Because we say, it's only because of our Torah and our mitzvahs that are keeping the world going. But wait a second. What kept the world going before there was a Torah? Before the Torah was given? And the answer is this love. And the depths of it is that love is also still with us even after Torah was given. It's very, very important and still has an extremely important role. This is what keeps us going when we're not on the level. We're not always able to be every second of every day following some instruction from Hashem. Even, says Rabbi Nachman in Torah 78 in the second section, even the greatest tzaddik in the world has a time where they're just in between, where they're not involved in mitzvah A or mitzvah B. It's impossible as a human being to be completely always following some rule. There's going to be some part of your life where you're just living the story. And so what's bringing down the life energy then if it's not the merit of the good that I'm doing? There's something above all the merits, which is just being beloved, just the love of Hashem that is behind everything. And it's very, very crucial. That's mamish essential. So this is this hidden Torah. Now, thing is, the Rabbi Nachman explains in that Torah. Assalamu alaikum. L'chaim, good to see you guys. So the thing is that there's this love that is completely independent of any merit, and yet you have to be mamish on a very high level to experience it, to become a vessel for it, not to merit it, but in order to have the antenna, so to speak, to pick up the waves of God's love. So you have to really be a great, great tzaddik. And once again, it's coming no matter what. It's a love, and it's a love that is reaching all of us all the time, regardless of merits or demerits. But to tune into it and get energy from it and find strength from that place, you have to be an amazing tzaddik in order to tune into it and sort of hear it, right? So again, lachem. Why does the Torah have to tell us this whole story? All the stories of creation. Just go straight to the rules. The teretz shekol elu hasipurim hen kedei shenuchal lichbosh Eretz Yisrael. These stories actually give us the strength to conquer Eretz Yisrael. This is a bit of a side issue of Eretz Yisrael, but ultimately what we're telling the world is not we're coming because we're stronger, not we're coming because we're better. We don't understand. This is just part of God's love, that this is how it should be. It's just beyond any understanding. It's just part of Hashem's love that Am Yisrael needs to be in Eretz Yisrael. That's just how it is. The only way is through this great strength, which is the strength of Hashem's creation itself, which is this hidden Torah, which is this great love. And that's why the Torah tells us all of these stories. Okay, but this issue of Eretz Yisrael, that's a gewalt, and we mamash have to daven that the world should know. But I want to focus on it in terms of our avoda, and here he gets back into the kind of more personal aspect. These are all the aspects of the hidden Torah, and that's why Moshe said, if good, if you'll forgive Am Yisrael, good. If not, erase me. What does that mean, erase me? It means take away all the verses that say Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe, right? Moshe kagon Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe v'chayetze bezeh. Shekol zehu bichlal hasipurim v'diburim shel haTorah. All of this is Moshe's name means the stories. She'ena me'ikar hamitzvahs. Erase me means erase that aspect of the stories. Erase that aspect of that which is in between the mitzvahs. This hidden Torah that is above the revealed Torah. Not only is it just this amazing love, but this hidden Torah is nothing less than mamish God, so to speak, kiviyachol. This is just Hashem giving existence out of pure love. That through it was Hashem alone. Nobody said to Hashem, make the world. Nobody was around to merit that the world should be created. It was just mamish, complete love with no, right? There was only God before, right? There was no one there to get it right first in order for the world to be made. It was just an overflow of love. That's all it was. And that's still there every second. And where is it? It's in the story. It's in the stories of the Torah. It's in the stories of our lives. And particularly the tzaddik mamish, and the tzaddik that's in each one of us that knows this. In those in-between times where we're not following any instruction, we're not getting it right, we're not, we're just being. When we're in that in-between place, we know this, we're tuning into this, and the tzaddik tunes into it the most. Because they've worked on themselves so deeply that they can really be an antenna for this. Not that they merit it, but they merit being able to hear it, being able to tune into it. And so then they also merit to strengthen us. It was from this Torah, in Torah 78, in the second section, that Rabbi Nachman said, there is no such thing as despair, gewalt, gewalt, don't give up, he said. Who's these words hundreds of years ago, a couple hundred years ago, said in a little room with maybe 30 people, is strengthening hundreds of thousands of Jews every day, every second. It's an incredible thing. Gewalt, don't give up, because Rabbi Nachman was the only person to ever say don't give up. But because of who he was able to channel this love that is in creation itself, the Torah that is in the air, that is in the water, that is in the sky, that is in the earth that we stand on, and know that love of God that is totally independent of how good you did, how bad you did. There's a love of God that because of that love you were created. So of course don't give up. Hashem loves you before because of love he created you. So of course you have another chance. Of course, right? And Rav Nosson says, this is what was going on Har Sinai. Moshe Rabbeinu saying, if you're not going to forgive Am Yisrael, then erase me from your book. If you're not going to forgive Am Yisrael, then what's the whole point of this hidden Torah, of the stories of the Torah, of the in-between? Right? And he said, just lost my place here. This hidden Torah is mamish, God Himself, kiviyachol, Shem Yisbarach be'atzmo kiviyachol, so to speak. Dayado bara es ha'olam bechazdo levad. Kodem shehaya shum uvda l'sata klal. Before anyone was around, Hashem made the world out of love. Hashem achar shebara olam. But now that He did make the world, v'nasan es haTorah l'Yisrael, and He gave the Torah to Am Yisrael. Masa ritzono b'yad Yisrael. He, so to speak, Hashem gave over His will to Am Yisrael. V'ha'ikar, and essentially the leaders of the tzaddikim, the tzaddik hador, v'akol toloi boy. It all depends on the tzaddik. This is why Hashem said to Moshe, now leave me alone. This amazing word. Now leave me alone, and I'm going to destroy Am Yisrael. And by saying leave me alone, he meant don't leave me alone. It's an unbelievable thing. To hint to Moshe that, okay, if you understand what this love really is, then now it depends on you. And you, by saying to Moshe, leave me alone and to destroy them, means he was giving to Moshe, wanted Moshe to awaken that love that is in the in-between, that is in creation itself, and motivated. So there Moshe went straight to that. He says, Mecheni na. Which that this was dafka given into the hands of Moshe, which is why mamish, the verse that is the most prevalent in the Torah is Vaydaber Shem Moshe Lemor. That verse is the story of Hashem giving to the tzaddik that aspect of the story itself, that aspect of the love, of the divine love that's in creation, that the tzaddik is, because of their great merits, they can channel that love that is above all merits and give infinite strength to Am Yisrael to keep trying. And they can daven to Hashem from that place. So Moshe says, I get it. You're saying leave me alone, you mean don't leave me alone? And you want me to appeal to that place, so fine. So if you're not going to forgive them, erase those verses. Give out, because that's really an appeal to that incredible place. If you won't forgive them and keep the world going through the hidden Torah, which is that aspect of the story of Hashem speaking to Moshe, the stories behind all the mitzvahs. Why should I be there? That all those verses are about you passing on that power of the story, that power of the love of creation into my hands. And this is the tzaddik Ador has it, and we each have it in our own aspect of being a tzaddik. And if I have that strength, and now you don't want to, now you're going to destroy Am Yisrael chas v'shalom. L'kema olam al yadi im kein mecheni na v'tachzor etzlecha levad. If I can't handle it, if I can't channel it, then erase those verses and let the love come from you alone. You surely could keep the world going with your great love. Let it all go back. Therefore, through Moshe awakening that hidden love, that amazing thing, which is exactly his job, then that Hashem changed his mind. Even though we mamish did the most unbelievable thing, making a golden calf right at the foothill of our Sinai, through that chesed, Moshe did awaken that amazing love that is keeping the world going all the time. So, Gewalt. This, just to tie it back into that Erev Yom Kippur. This, I think, is Hashem giving us, and we're going into Yom Kippur. Every Erev Yom Kippur, Hashem gives us this day where the rules change, where that which is easy to do, eating, counts, and we get rewarded for it as if we fasted, as if it was hard to do. Which is a crazy, crazy thing. We have this question, why, Hashem, why is it that our achievements are so hard? Why does it have to be this way? And it's a question that no one can answer. It's a question at the mamash, at the heart of creation. But one day a year, Hashem changes the rule and makes it that which is easy counts on the level as if it was hard. And in that switch, we experience something incredibly precious. We experience the story. After all, when we're eating, what are we really doing? We're it's a really unbelievable mitzvah. Not like korban pesach or matzah or any korban where what you're eating is a specific thing. Eat anything and eat a lot. Laharbos basuda, Shulchan Aruch says. Just be a person who eats, and it's a mitzvah. It's like it almost strains the very definition of what a mitzvah is. Not only is it a mitzvah, it counts as a mitzvah as if it was a really hard thing to do, as if you were fasting. In that switch, it's changing all the rules. Hashem is giving us, Be'ezus Hashem, a taste of this love that we know inside, this love that is the in-between, when we're in that which is in between one mitzvah and the next. To recognize that we have an aspect in us that is called the tzaddik, and that is going keseder, and that's always been going keseder, and we've always been trying and doing one mitzvah and going to the next mitzvah. There's an aspect within us that needs to slow down in order to experience that precious thing that is in between the mitzvahs, in order to experience that love that is in the story of our lives, that is in the very existence itself, before any merits. There's also the aspect in us of the Baal Tshuva that has to run, that has to be quick. So I'm just blessing all of us, myself included, that we should have that koach to know how to have both of these, how to slow down and experience the love that is in between the mitzvahs, which brings us from one mitzvah to the next. The story, the vayelech Moshe, the story of a soul walking through the world, the deepest walking there is. And also to know where we need to be quick, where we need to mamish run for our lives, run to the Torah, run to the mitzvahs, run, where we need to really change and grow and jump and skip and hook into the world of the mitzvahs of the revealed Torah. So it should be the greatest year. Thank you so much for coming. Any thoughts or questions are welcome. Just unmute.